We're going to be talking about a social sales strategy, not something we haven't talked about before, but it's another angle or avenue that we need to explore in order to yield more appointments. And today's strategy is going to be focusing on um, increasing the likelihood of having appointments by having more commonalities with our prospects. And so the way that we're going to do that is we're going to lean a lot on LinkedIn today, just because this is primarily the source of information that's going to enable us to create or identify the commonalities that we need to have success. So in LinkedIn, we're going to go to the advanced search tool, which is pretty much buried. I'm not sure why they do that, but performance search, and then on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see something that says all filters. Once you go there, you'll be able to, on the right-hand side of the screen, they have quite a few different filters, and this is part of the free program within LinkedIn. You don't need to have a premium account for this. But what you want to do is you want to identify individuals who have worked at companies that you've worked at in the past. Because what this does is it creates a common history. You probably don't know each other, but having that common pedigree will certainly make the conversation a little bit more interesting. Now, we can layer multiple filters on the same search. And so if you have enough data, depending on where you worked at, what school you went to, you can add additional filters like schooling. You can add languages, so maybe you studied a language or know a language. Another one that's really fun to work with is common last names or common first names, just because that will make the conversation a little bit more easy. But all of these filters will certainly make it a lot easier to have conversations with people and make it more likely that you'll be able to win the opportunities. Now, going back for a second to the schooling filters, there's a more advanced filter. So if you go to the school page that you have on LinkedIn, click on alumni, and at the bottom of the page, you'll see that there's a filter for years. You can also search for title of the individual, but what this will do is it'll allow you to search for individuals who were at the school at the same time as you. And this also is helpful in terms of finding individuals that have common characteristics. You can also filter by the location, current company, and so forth. And so again, there's more than enough prospects out there to go out and hunt. But if we narrow it down based off of commonalities, it makes it much more easy to have an appointment and to create a long-term relationship with these individuals. Now, in addition, it's helpful to keep track of these individuals in terms of maybe they're switching jobs, maybe there's activity. There's a free tool that we offer where you can follow 25 companies, and this will allow you to follow all individuals at these companies. But if you go to ensable.com/follow, you can plug in the companies here, whether by website or company name, and you'll start to get updates about these individuals. So if they have new certifications, new patents, new jobs, new titles, if they're posting on LinkedIn, this would flow into this report that you get in your inbox each day, identifying those updates. And so this is a great way to be efficient, because most of us have a lot of LinkedIn connections. We can't necessarily track this for everybody, but this is an easy way to do that. Now, there's a few other filters. So one of the limitations with LinkedIn is you don't necessarily always have all the filters that you want within that advanced search tool. If you go to ensable.com/data, you can go to contact preferences, and this can be complemented with virtually any other list filter. So if you're looking for companies who are expanding their contact centers or who have who reside in a specific geography, you can layer those filters on top in order to make your data more effective. But you can add a number of filters such as custom title, but more importantly, studies. So maybe you have the same study. You may talk about the fact that you both studied finance but ended up in information technology, past employer languages. Maybe you both had the same type of degree or school. Skill search is also helpful, because if you're looking for the right types of contacts, maybe the IT guy is the right contact, but maybe you're looking for the guy that actually handles the cloud computing. And so you can search their skill set. You could also look for volunteer work, which is another commonality that would be helpful in terms of finding people that have the same types of interests and same types of backgrounds, certifications as well. So maybe you have the same certification, you can talk about the process. But all of these filters, again, are designed to help you identify those individuals that are more likely to have a conversation with you. So again, it's pretty simple. Rather than just starting from a generic list, which most of the time we just focus on title, right? But we need to go there. There's more than enough individuals that work within this space that we're targeting, and so we should really look at other commonalities to filter a little bit further. And by doing so, it should make the sales process a lot easier. So again, schooling, work history, languages, first or last names, studies, certifications, volunteer work, and try to layer as many of these on top of each other as possible. And that should make the sales process a lot easier. Now, along the same lines, this is a good opportunity. If you haven't formed a group purchasing group, you can review that training that we did in the past. But essentially, this is one of the easiest ways to create a monopoly within your space. I won't go into all the details on this, but essentially what you do is you can create an alumni discount group where you pre-negotiate discounts on behalf with the vendors that you work with. If you can have a group of individuals that purchase as a whole. So essentially, small to medium-sized businesses get enterprise discounts because they purchase as a whole and they get a discount. And so you can pre-negotiate that with your vendors, and you can provide alumni special discounts and essentially create a monopoly because they can only get those discounts through you because that's what you've set up. And so it's a great way to work. You can create things like this. So maybe you work with a Spanish community, or you work with an alumni group, or companies that have that volunteer for a certain cause. But all of these can be very helpful in helping you create something unique and a different type of talking point. But again, there's a whole different call that we discussed this in further detail, which will talk to you more about strategies. But I wanted to make sure I mentioned that because this fits really well with this particular strategy. Next time we talk, we're going to be talking about an interchange email strategy. What this does is it's a great way to, when you're working with referral partners, this is an email strategy that increases the likelihood of a response from your prospects by about tenfold. And it's really easy to implement. So we'll talk about how to do that next time. But until then, I hope you have a great weekend, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. Thanks, everyone, for joining. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.